why they play before the game. They can play Dreams and Nightmares. I'll be like, sound. I think that sometimes the wrong verbiage around gun violence is really important. I hear a lot of times, this person lost so and so, they didn't really take it from them. So the verbiage that we use around gun violence is really important. Yesterday was rough for me. Yesterday was heavy. I was supposed to go to dinner with my agent because of the emotions that came from that 2.5 hour meeting. And we cut it right because we have a game today. We could have been there all day yesterday, having the survivors, whether they actually survived a move themselves or the family member was taken from them, to hear their stories, to hear their trauma, that is never fruitful. But is it more motivation for me to utilize my platform? Absolutely, because as a human being, how can I not have empathy for what other people are going through? How can I not have the consciousness to understand that 56% of Americans are affected by gun violence every single day? It's every single day over half of Americans with the population that we have are affected by gun violence in some way, shape, or form. That very much can hit my own home. I've been blessed that it hasn't yet, but to these people, what they're trying to say is that it could happen to any of us. I know that experience from a different personnel. You know, my house burned down when I was in college, and I always said it wouldn't be me, right? Like, that would never happen to my family. Shit happens. And so it's on each of us to do our part, to do a little bit more. And if you're not going to do it for the person next to you, if you're not going to do it for your neighbor, then do it for your own family. Your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your sons, your daughters, your cousins, your friends. If you don't have it in you to care about other people because of things based on race and religion and all those things, care about your own family, to do your part in protecting them. It starts in your household, and then we bring it out, and then you start tackling human being. But we're talking about, I think the biggest thing that kills me with gun legislation is it's not, no one's trying to take your guns. We're just trying to create sensible laws surrounding them. So simple things like properly storing it with a lock and key, up and away from kids, up and away from people that should not have access to these guns. Red flag laws that allow, if someone is mentally ill and a harm to themselves or to others, you can get their guns taken from them for a period of time until you feel like it's better. Extensive background checks. It took me 10 minutes. I literally drove to get a gun. It closed, the store closed in 10 minutes, and I got my gun before the store closed. I just, not knowing how to handle the gun, not knowing how to even load bullets into the gun, I was sold a gun, and I'm allowed to go out into the world with this deadly weapon. Granted, that took the due diligence of learning and educating myself and going to gun ranges and learning how to properly use and store that gun, but not every American is doing that, and every American needs to do that.
Tosh, with you being a gun owner yourself, what's your message to other gun owners?
Yeah, I believe in your right to bear arms. I don't believe that normal civilians should have military-grade weapons. I think that's where most of our mass shootings, obviously, that is the main weapons used is assault rifles. But when it comes to protecting your home, I think, yes, there is other things in this country. For me, being in the same-sex home, I have to be able to protect my home. I can fight now. You will have to catch my hands first, but if it did come to that, I need to be able to protect my home and my family. So I understand your right and your want to bear arms, right? But when we're talking about the grander scheme of things, if it means that I need to go through a more extensive background check to ensure the safety of someone else, I'm okay with that. And if the red flag laws protect and save someone else's life, I'm okay with that. And if storing it properly is I have to go spend $100 for a lock and safe, then that's something that I'm willing to do as a gun owner. And I think that if you're not willing to do those things, truly you're just a piece of shit. Like, I don't know how to better shape it. When you know me, I'm blunt, I'm straight to the point, but if this is such an inconvenience to you of saving other people's lives and potentially your own families, your own child, your own loved ones, then I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Have you ever talked to any of your Australian teammates or associates around the league? Yeah, you played in Australia, and they have their gun laws.
Mass shooting. They had one mass shooting.
Right, and they took their magazines away, right?
It is damn near impossible to be a civilian in Australia and own a gun. And there is no civilian owning a military weapon that is for police and military personnel only. So it took Australia one mass shooting to change and shape and change their legislation. We have mass shootings every single day. 122 people die a day from gun violence. 56% of Americans are affected by gun violence, and we still won't make changes. But our government will ban TikTok, so we know when they want to do something, they'll act on it. When they don't want to do something, and when the NRA is filling our pockets and lining our pockets, it makes a lot different. So it's also on our elected officials, because I like to highlight that word, elected officials, to make sure that they're standing up for their constituents, which is us as civilians, right? We voted them in. 90% of America wants stricter gun laws and legislation surrounding guns. Is this a democracy? We need to start asking that question because America is speaking. We're just not being heard by our elected officials.
TikTok thing is basically from the strained relations with China.
No, TikTok is we are learning too much information about what is going on around the world and being done by our own government, which is what they want to censor. We clearly, what is going on around the world, whether it is gun violence, whether it is Gaza, we are being censored here in the United States by Western media because it is our own personal agenda to protect our allies and to protect our own interests and wants. And that's not necessarily the interests and wants of our constituents. That's the interest and wants of the elected officials to line their pockets. So again, our elected officials need to do their job. They need to fulfill their oaths, and their oaths first and primarily come to us in this country, and we need to start standing on that.
Part of being politically driven with a lot of your messaging, your time in Washington was part of that possibly, or no?
No, this is just me being a civilian here in the United States of America, understanding right from wrong, understanding truthfully when we're being fucked. And it's not just one community, obviously we can go into like a deep talk about politics, but every single one of us, look at all the diversity here. In some way, shape, or form, our government is taking away from each and every one of us. And the quicker that we learn that, and the quicker that we band together to really fulfill our democracy, is the day that we're going to be better. I know everyone knows what it means to live paycheck to paycheck right now, right? And they love throwing that word inflation around, but I don't see none of them struggling. I don't see none of their kids in public schools. I see them all in private schools, right? So we need to start understanding that they have had silver spoons in their mouth their entire life, and for the majority of our country, that is not the truth.
About the game tonight, just wondering real quick, Natasha Collier, just wondering what you learned from the first matchup in the 31st and going into tonight's game that you looking to contain her or took options away.
Yeah, I think we caught many on the end of a long-ass road trip. So while they had time to be fresh-legged and ready for that game, we were on the back end of our long road trip, our 6-day road trip, in which we played a back-to-back, then flew, and then played mini. So I'm hoping that our legs are here today. That will have more effect on the game. We're going to have a better showing. We have the X factor behind us. But what I do want to say is that Natasha Collier is having another amazing year. I think she's a player that is not highlighted enough. She was 4th in running for MVP last year, but what she means to that team and the impact that she has, the continued growth from having a baby and coming back and still being able to bust ass, I just don't think that it's talked about enough. So from one player to the next, I have a lot of respect for Fee. I have a lot of respect for sticking it out with Minnie and really just, they're in a rebuild and they are looking really good. So it's on us to bring our best game tonight, our best effort, but we got to get back on track ourselves. So that's our main focus tonight.
You want to shout out the shoes?
Oh yeah, y'all like my shoes yesterday? Because we wear it always. Yeah.
Teach Peach.
Teach peace, we got the tag, and protect kids, not guns. Yup, that's it.
All right, ugly New Balances in the background.
Yeah, get them New Balances out here, because I'm Nike. Nike gang. Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Okay, shoe free. Cool. Josh just had one more question. So I really
Okay. What's up, my guy?